John.
Hey, JC, this is Brad in Illinois again. My team's had four sales in the last week or so, so we're doing pretty well. And yeah, I think I've got some good things going. I've got looks like four new consultants joining too, so pretty busy all of a sudden. It's feeling good.
Awesome. Awesome. You've got some momentum, Brad. So what you want to do is obviously keep up that momentum, right? The best time to make a sale is right after you made a sale. The best time to go recruit somebody is right after you recruited somebody. And momentum is the easiest thing to lose, but the hardest thing to get. So you guys want to make sure that you guys are doing that. Any other wins?
Yeah, just to close that one out, I had a site survey this morning too, and I'm just very impressed with
Recording in
the
progress.
how thorough Freedom is with their site surveys. They spend a couple hours, and no, I've been very pleased with that process.
Yes, yes, they are awesome, man. So thank you for that feedback.
Hey everyone, my name is Calvin. I just want to give a quick shout out to my guy Paco. He should be here on this call. We just got off of a meeting with another client. Less than 1 week in the business, got three bills, closed one, about to close another one. So we were like 2-3 minutes late because we were just on another call. But this guy's in Georgia, and it's just amazing to be working with more and more people that finally see the value. So we're excited.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And you're doing the right thing, Calvin. You're getting your people on, all of you guys. Remember, a highly trained team equals a highly paid team. You've got to become a promoter, not an announcer. Selling solar is great, but getting paid on solar sales and solar installs that you had nothing to do with is even better, right? It's greater. So, but you guys got to make sure that we are promoting like never before this call. Make sure that all of your new people are going through the 7-minute welcome video that I did that tells them about these trainings, tells them about the systems that we have, tells them about what their next steps are. So that 7-minute video, by the way, somebody post that 7-minute video in the chat. So in case you don't have it and you haven't watched it yourself, make sure that you watch it yourself. That way, when you send it to your new people, you are sending them something that you have done before, a system that you have followed yourself, right? So let's take 2 more wins before we get this training started.
I gotta win, JC. I'm bringing somebody to the team that just he lives 2 doors next to me. His dog just happened to get loose, and I brought it back, and come to find out, the guy has been a network marketer for 24 years and a builder, just in conversation. So he's already collecting bills for me.
Congratulations, brother. Great job. Great job. That's awesome, man. And by the way, Jonathan is the one that's helping us create the CRM that is just about finished. So some good things coming, guys. Some ladies and gentlemen. Let's take 1 more win, please.
Hi, Mr. Rangel. This is Angel Trin. I've been calling everyone and checking up on everyone in Houston, and I actually checked up on one of my business friend, and she's super excited because we had talked about solar before the hurricane, and so now she's ready to. She's really excited and already starting to market for it in her stores and everything already. And then shout out to Sabrina and Eddie, who just started a week ago. They already have 3 builders and 8 affiliates and counting.
Wow.
Let's go.
On fire. That's Builder 500. Angel on her way to Builder 1000. Am I right, Angel?
Actually, I already hit that.
Angel, oh, Builder 1000. So she's a Builder 1000. You guys are going to start seeing the promos going out for all our Builder 500s, Builder 1000s, Builder 2000s. So congratulations, Angel. There's no surprise, that you've got this kind of activity because you are following the system and you are a student of the system and a student of the game. So great job, Angel. Proud of you.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right. It's that time. I have the pleasure to introduce a friend of mine who frankly has been a friend of mine since we started working together with a prior company. 4 years ago, I started sending this guy roof jobs. So he's been doing an amazing job. He's done a lot of my personal roof jobs. You guys know that we work with different roofers across the nation. There's really only 2 roofers that I work with in California, and this is one of them. And this is a gentleman that I've worked with the longest in the industry. So here's the thing. There's a couple of different people. There's people that just want to build a business and know a little bit about solar and override solar, make residual income, passive income. Great. But there's some of you guys that want to learn the solar business and you want to sell solar and you want to be a mentor or a level 2 seller that closes your own sales. Maybe not a mentor, but a level 2. Here's the thing. If you want to be an effective solar professional, which I recommend, is such a beautiful industry. You could go out in the weekend and make $10,000 that weekend. You could go out there and do like David Ramos and make $20,000 in a weekend. David Ramos has a skill set to make 20,000. By the way, David Ramos is one of the people that do the correlation meeting along with Louis Rangel and David Rendon and also Johnny Montes. These gentlemen have the skills to do that. Well, you need to know, and it is such an important skill for you to learn about the types of roofs. So the gentleman that I'm going to introduce has many, many years in the roofing industry. I'll let him get into his story. So he's going to do a training on roofing that is very important for us to understand what type of roofs we're looking for, which ones are ideal, which ones are not ideal. And if that's not the case, what needs to be done. He is an absolute bona fide expert. He's also a solar pro. Okay. He's also a mentor in the platform. So I'd like to do a mic check and see if we've got Mr. Reggie Valdez. You're on mute. I can see you here, bro. You just got to unmute yourself.
Hey, JC, I'm here, man. Really appreciate all the kind words you said about me. As you said, yeah, I've been in the roofing industry now going on 30 years and solar 9 years. I met him at the previous company we were at. Super leader, just great guy, man. I've learned so much from him outside of roofing, outside of solar, just how to be as far as a person, a leader, how to train, just a bunch of things. He's, really look up to you a lot, man, and I appreciate the kind words.
Thank you, my friend.
So let's get started. First of all, before we get started, any questions really about anything that you guys want to learn? I have a whole slide deck set up, but I just want to make sure I cover. So I'd like to hear maybe from a couple of you, like, what's been an issue with you with roofing? What, other than credit, I feel like roofing's the next big snag in a deal, to be prepared and make sure that you have everything you need. So is there anything that anybody in particular wants me to cover?
I think, yeah, good morning over here, Reggie. I'm David. Nice to meet you. So I think one of the big things that would be helpful is to go over when a comp out is needed, right? Like sometimes we're able to move forward and do either like tile hooks or install on like cement tile. And if we can go into detail about when it is necessary to get a comp out and also what's included and what the cost and how to factor in costs with that, I think that would be great.
Okay, that's perfect. I got that in my slide and a couple of options for you guys on that. Let me just make sure I can share my screen here and we'll get started. I don't have ability to share screen. I don't know who's controlling the meeting, but if I can get that. Anybody know who's
I will make you co-host.
Okay. I just got some really good slides that are going to go over exactly what you asked for, David, and I'd like to share those with you guys. Any other thing anybody else would like to learn until we get that going? Any other snags? Oh, there we go. I got access. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So you make sure you guys can see it. Anyone give me a thumbs up or anything?
Yes,
Just tell me. All right, awesome. All right. All right, so I'm just going to go quickly through these and I'll get to the point. It seemed like I've been getting a lot of questions lately regarding tile and when to do inlays and how much they cost and stuff like that. That seems like the number one question I've been getting, mostly other than general, questions and costs and stuff like that. So a little bit about me. 8 years in the solar industry, 30 years in the roofing industry. Also dabbled in real estate and mortgage for a lot of my professional life. So I'm really, fluent in financing and title and liens and things like that also. I get those questions quite a bit from my customers. So I'm sure you guys do too. So the agenda today is we're just going to go over roof types. What works with solar, what doesn't. Basic, just how to look at a roof and know whether you should be worried about it. especially after you get your pictures from your site surveys, basic roof knowledge, and then just the process that we go through and the timelines that we take for roofing. So I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with just your standard asphalt shingles. This is what you're going to find commonly. Over here on the left, these are just your standard shingle types. Probably 90% of your roofing on any rear roof would be one of these type of shingles here. We are certified through Owens Corning, CertainTeed, and GAF. We're certified partners. We can give you guys up to 50-year warranties on those. And those will go along with whatever kind of warranty you give your solar. These are just upgraded designer shingles, just a different look, different style. We're doing 10% of those maybe. So the big important question about concrete tiles, clay tiles, and all that stuff. What you see up here are just basic pictures of some concrete tiles, mostly standard and lightweight. One of the rule of thumbs that I look at on a roof, especially when I'm doing proposals for solar companies, first of all, they ask me, hey, do you know if it's lightweight or standard weight? It's really hard to tell by looking at it. So what I do is I take a look at the neighborhood. If I see that a lot of roofs have been re-roofed recently and they're not the original roofs and they have tile now, but the neighbor may have composition or a wood shake roof or just any other metal roof, whatever their style, leads me to believe that it originally wasn't designed for the weight of a concrete tile. So most likely those are lightweight. Usually also anything built after the 80s that has tile, and if all the neighbors have tile, those usually are going to be standard weight concrete tiles. They were built to hold the weight of concrete. So it's just a good telltale is the age of the roof and then what the neighbor's roofs look like. It'll tell you. But this is your standard concrete tile. You can tell by looking at it, they're a little more perfect. They're a little thicker than a clay tile. And when we get to clay, I'll show you the difference. So that's just a little bit about concrete tiles. Metal roofs. With solar, it's really important to figure out what type of metal roof is on there, whether you can penetrate it or not. The good thing that I like is when we see these standing seam roofs, they make these S-clips that you can attach to them. No penetrations needed, nothing. So whenever you see a standing seam, you should know that qualifies for solar without having to worry about any extra stuff being done for it. These are your clay tile roofs. These are just some different options. Some of the tile signs are concrete in between each one of the tiles. You can see the thickness of the tile. They're a little thinner on each one of these pictures as you go around. Most of the tile you see does come in this terracotta red style. And then there's different types. There's an S tile, which is one piece that goes all the way around. There's a two-piece tile, which has one bottom piece that goes under and then one top piece that goes over. So they're all separate. This is also a two-piece tile here. And like I said, the tell sign with tile is just look at how thin they are. The majority of clay tile roofs are very thin. They're very fragile, and they will require to do a solar picture frame, if you want to call it, or a tile or an inlay, comp inlay. There's different terminology for it. But whenever you see clay, there's going to be additional roof work that's going to be needed. None of the installers I work with or ever have worked with in the last 10 years will install over clay tile. Composition roofs. I can skip this. I mean, we kind of went through composition. Anybody have any questions about composition? Anything in particular that they're concerned about or would like to know
question,
more about?
Reggie.
Yeah.
If I may, this is considering the clay tiles, you just mentioned that it would likely need some work. Does that mean that it would need to be changed over to a shingle, or just maybe some additional like clips might need to be inserted or anything?
You would want to put shingles underneath it. So typically what happens with that is we'll remove that section of the roof wherever solar is going to be. We'll pull that up. We'll put comp shingles underneath it. After solar installation, we'll come back and fit tile around it to make it look as if there is clay tile everywhere.
Nice.
And
Okay.
they do that is to prevent leaks in the clay tile.
But
And
ultimately, they'll still have. Sorry about that. Ultimately, they'll still have clay tiles afterwards, though.
correct. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not
that's
clay
awesome.
tiles underneath, but around it. So it's really hard to tell that there was ever clay
They
taken
won't
out
even.
to begin with.
Exactly. And they won't even be able to tell after the installation. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So concrete tiles, this is just one of the styles here. There's several styles. There's flat tiles. There's S tiles. There's what we call an M tile. Typically on these, what we look for is we look for underlayment. When they do your site survey, they're going to go and they're going to remove a few of the tiles to see what everything looks like underneath. If it's something that we can install right over, if it's a standard weight and the underlayment is very old and needs to be replaced, we'll do what we call a reset or a relay, where, for instance, in this particular picture, if there's going to be solar panels here, we would remove this entire side of the roof. And then we would install new underlayment, reinstall the tile, and then the solar panels would be installed over that. Very common on, I would say, homes that are over 30 years old. Once they get inspected and site survey goes out, a lot of times they'll require that. And it's all based on condition of underlayment once, your site survey gets done. So this kind of talks about our clay tile roofs, a little bit what we just went over. The comp out or backfill is what we call it. And it's usually just the area where there's going to be panels. You can see here that underneath this array here, there's actually comp tile, but from the ground, it's not noticeable. It looks like there's a complete tile roof underneath the panels and all the way around them. So like I said, we pull these off, that whole area, the entire side. For instance, if it was going here, we would lift this entire side of the roof off, take it all the way down to the wood, install new underlayment, install composition shingles on the entire side from top to bottom, left to right. And then we would wait for the solar company to come out and install their solar panels. Once it's done, we do the comp out, the tile relay around it and keep the tiles away from the panels like that. And that's typically on any side that's going to have solar panels. So normally when I quote a job and I know it needs comp inlay, what I'll do is I'll try to put as many panels as I can on one side of the roof. Sometimes it makes more sense to, if you're doing a south side and you can squeeze another panel or two, it makes more sense to do it on that side of the roof instead of having 2 or 3 different sides of the roof. So otherwise you have to do the inlay all over the roof or on 3 sides or 4 sides, whatever that makes sense to. So here's a little bit of just a quick picture. You can see what I was saying, the concrete tile, they're heavier, they're thicker. They usually have these channels that interlock with each other. And it's a good way to tell. They're all made in like they're pre-made. They have a mold that they go through and they're done like that. Clay tiles are typically a little thinner. There's no interlocking on them at all. And this actually clay tile almost looks like a concrete tile because of the thickness, but there's no interlocking channels like here, what you see here. And what a lot of people do is I'll just get text messages and they'll ask me concrete or clay. They'll send me an address. I'll go on Google. I'll go on Zillow, any kind of real estate websites or anything like that where I can see and get a closer look at it. So basically, signs to see in a composition roof. What happens with composition as they get older, and this is an extreme picture, but they start to have these little gaps. They start to lose a lot of the granules on them. You'll start to see granules on the floor around the perimeter of the house or in the gutters. You'll see a lot of mold. Normally, if I even see this type of roof, which is considered a 3-tab, I usually want to put a new roof on it no matter what. But you'll see missing shingles. You'll see a lot of stuff like that. And those are just tell signs that it's time for a new roof and you don't want to put solar over it. Anybody have any questions?
Okay. Hello, good morning. Good morning. This is Johnny. I do have a question. I know when you were talking about the metal roofs.
Yeah.
I know I was a little held up. I couldn't unmute. So I don't know if you're going to cover it later, but I did have a question in regards to CalPac. Those CalPac roofs. Mm-hmm. Is that some type of metal, like a thin metal?
It's typically there's different names for it, but most of them are a stone coated metal, and we'll go over that in a bit.
Okay.
Stone coated metal will require a comp.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question on comp.
Yeah.
Comp. is there a limit in terms of like the number of layers? Like, let's say you have,
still here.
hey, you guys are, can you mute
Somebody's
yourself?
unmuted. Can you guys mute yourself?
So just my question, brother, is just is there a limit when it comes to the number of layers? And is there a certain point where, you know, if you have like 4, I've even seen like 5 layers of roof where it's going to require a re-roof, or even in that instance, if it was comp shingle, would we be able to install solar on it?
Yeah, so what I've noticed, most cities allow 2, at least here in California. I don't know what it's like in other states, but in
Yeah.
California, though, most cities will allow 2. Some cities are starting to adopt that you can't even put a second roof on them now. Anything over 2 has to come off. Usually, if there's 2 roofs on a house, most solar companies will install over it. But I have seen some that don't want to. So it's just a matter of, I guess, the installers and who's going out to do the site survey and stuff like that. But anything over 2 for sure has got to come off. And I do recommend if you're at that point, it's best to bring it down to 1 layer and start from scratch. But anything over 2, you'll definitely have to redo.
Got it. Thank you.
It's just some signs on tile roofs, obviously cracked tiles, stuff like that. You can see the channel here, so that gives you an idea that this is an actual concrete tile. Also, a lot of the concrete tiles will have nail holes like this in certain areas where they could be nailed. A lot of the clay tiles, you don't see those holes on any of the trim pieces and stuff like that. But typically, most likely a roof like this paper here has been exposed to the sun for a while. So it's probably got some damage on it. But that's something really close to look at. You know, and even on Google Earth, sometimes you can pick up these cracked tiles, broken tiles and stuff like that. It's just some basic, I'll pull out a couple things, terminology that you guys might need to know. You know, when you're looking at some of the proposals and stuff like that. So basically, you know, there's valleys, there's ridges are all the peaks. Drip edge goes around all the perimeters, anywhere around the bottom here. This is a flat roof. These are pitch roofs here. I think that's pretty much all you guys will ever encounter. I mean, any of the flashings and other stuff that you need, you guys probably won't ever have to deal with that. So just a couple other things, you know, a couple other pictures that, like I mentioned earlier, you know, you want to make sure that the granules are all there. You see when you start to see this little fraying here, that's a tell sign that you should probably replace the roof. Make sure there's no cracking, splitting. This is the shiny fiberglass that it says here. Obviously, the bad roofs are missing shingles, mismatched roof patterns where you've seen patches done because there's because there has been leaks in the past. Any of the granules, if you see granules around the perimeter of the floor, you know, those are just some signs. And that's pretty much it with the comp. A little bit of concrete, we kind of went through that. I'll skip these.
On the comps,
Yeah.
quick again. So say I'm sitting here in North Carolina and I sell a job up in Pennsylvania or something. I'm not going to be able to see these roof pictures and stuff until after the, you know, that initial assessment's been done. At what point do I decide, or can I figure out whether I should just do a roof through the platform versus talking to, you know, a roofer in the area to get insurance involved and stuff like that for that homeowner, just to better serve that homeowner? What are your recommendations on that?
So a lot of times when I'm doing virtual sales, I'll have the customer go out and take some photos for me. I asked them their age of their roof. You know, if their roof's over 15 years old, maybe it's something to look at. You know, have them see if they get some close pictures even from the ground. I've had homeowners actually set up a ladder and climb on the roof and videos for me and stuff like that. Most won't do that, but I mean, it's a good, if you can get anything you can do. Street views do really well too. You can get an assessment of what the roof likes on Google, just doing street views. Half of the projects that I do or for other solar consultants they'll send me street views, or I'll go online and look at them and just to tell them what type of tile, what the roof looks like. So you can see a lot from the street view, and definitely pictures from a customer. As far as whether to use which company, I think that's all going to depend on Encore as far as if they have partners in that area or not, or what's going on.
Okay, thanks.
Here's some metal roofs. This is what he was talking about. This is a stone coated roof, obviously in bad shape. It's all bent up. But what it is, they're metal sheet panels that kind of look like shingles, and they have little granules on them, kind of like a comp shingle. These, I'm starting to see some companies install on them. Most won't. They usually have to have a complete inset, a comp inlay in there. We've done plenty of those here in California. Obviously, if you see any rust or anything like that on the roof, you're probably not going to want to install on it. Fasteners loose or anything like that. Metal roofs are kind of tricky. It's very important to know the type of metal roof, whether an installer will install on them or not. Flat roofs, these are just some signs. I mean, most flat roofs should look flat like this with no ripples or anything like that on them. No cuts, cracks. Ponding water is really bad. So there's, applications to correct all that stuff. But the important thing is just to make sure that it's solid. I mean, if you see a roof that's rippling like this, you should know that needs to be replaced. It's pretty much it. This is all rolled comp or torch down. People call them hot mop. This is different terms for them. So here's a couple that we talked about. This is clay. Obviously, we were talking about how thin they are. And these are just a list of some of the roofs that are not standard, and they usually need something done to them. Obviously, clay tile roof, lightweight flat concrete tile, lightweight S tile, any metal tiles or stone coated roofs other than standing seam metal. Those all need to be done. They'll have to do some kind of inlay or some kind of special attachments for them. These are some that I've seen that pretty much disqualify anything as far as I haven't met in. I've seen them installed and I've corrected a lot of them, and I see a lot of issues on these. Anything that's a wood roof, shake, or anything like that. Anything that has a slate roof, very hard to attach to. And then these are all synthetic slates. I mean, synthetic wood. They're made out of like a fiber concrete or anything like that. Those are all disqualified. Typically, when you come across these, other than the slate, they also don't have any plywood under them, so they usually have to be re-roofed with plywood. And there's another couple more slides coming up. Well, here it is right here. So important thing to know too, solar companies won't install over what they call skip sheeting. So if you go into somebody's garage, that's usually what I do, or I'll take a peek in the attic. Usually inside of the garage, you can just pop your head up and look up in the garage, and you'll see these slats in here. And there's either wood shingles there, or there may be some tar paper. You might see some black tar paper there. But anything that has spacing in it like this, it will have to be resheeted. They require a solid deck underneath all solar installs. At least here in California, like I said, in other parts it might be different. But that's important to see. If you give a quote for a re-roof and you find out later that it needs plywood, it's going to be a large adder that you're going to need, and it's going to cut into commissions or renegotiate with the customer and stuff like that. So that's something important. And this is usually, like I said, in a garage. You could just walk in, take a peek, look up at the ceiling in the garage, and you can usually see rafters and stuff like that. And if you're
Do you have
uncertain,
to remove this skip sheathing, or can you lay it right on top, the solid right on top of it?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Do you have to remove that skip sheathing, or can you lay the solid decking right on top of it?
No, we go right over the skip sheeting.
Okay.
Yeah, we can just put plywood right over it.
Because I have seen.
Yeah.
Is that the same with a metal roof as well? Because a lot of metal roofs seem to have that under it.
Yeah, a lot of metal roofs have skip sheeting because originally a lot of the metal roofs you come across, they used to have wood shingles on them. And when you rip wood shingles off, you usually find skip sheeting on there. So when they re-roof either directly over the wood shingles, a lot of metal roofs like that Girard or Calpac that somebody mentioned, a lot of those were designed to go right over right over a wood roof or shake roof because they're so light, they can put a second layer right on top of it. So a lot of times you'll find that where you take off the metal roof and then there's wood shingles underneath it still. You take off the wood shingles and then you find skip sheeting, then you have to plywood it. So a lot of things that I tell solar, and I run across this a lot. You guys are freaked out because now you found out you had a roof that needs to be redone. And it adds a ton of cost. The roof's not cheap. So I think it's very important to just tell your customers, hey, we're going to come out, we're going to do our site survey. Site survey is going to give us a little bit of information on what needs to be done other than what I saw when I was either there or, when I gave you the quote or whatever. So I think it's important to let them know, number one, that they're going to come across some stuff maybe that they may need a new roof. Number two, conditions, weather, permitting delays, all that stuff, can cause issues or time more than anything. And, the first thing we want to do with all our customers is make sure we can do our installs in a timely manner. And these are stuff that could delay it. There's been times where we're trying to start a roof in the winter months where we're waiting 2-3 months just to be able to rip it off and put a new roof on it. And meantime, they're thinking their solar was going to be installed already. So it's just important, just let them know, especially once you get to the point where that you need a new roof. It's good just to keep them posted and let them know what's going on. Communication is key always, as in any business. This is just a quick timeline of what usually happens with our roofs. It takes us about 3 to 5 days to do a roof, depending on the size and type of roof. Usually, we'll get the job assignment. We'll contact the customer. We'll go over colors, styles, maybe even meet with them, show them samples, stuff like that. Once we start, we'll pull permits. Once we get started, we remove the roof the first day. Material usually gets dropped that afternoon or the next morning. We go through our inspections and stuff like that. Here in California, we need inspection after we expose the wood. And then by day 2 or 3, we're doing our roof install, and it usually takes us a day or 2 to complete it. Once it's done, we have our final inspection. And usually your installer will need to have final inspection before they even schedule their install. And then once the permits are done, final inspection's done, then your roof is ready to go. But I tell most customers, figure about 1 week process. And that's pretty much it. I don't know if anyone has any questions or anything else we need to go over. I know it was kind of answer a lot of questions during the process.
I have a question, and I'm not sure if you're this is the right platform to ask, but what happens if a home already has solar and they need roofing?
A lot of our business comes from that. If you guys come across it, we'll come in and we'll detach and put a new roof on and reattach solar, the same solar. But we do a lot of that. I mean, that's become our bread and butter over the last couple of years.
Okay. And does a home have to go through all the permits again?
For the roofing, yes. I'm still finding in most cities, we don't need a pull permit for the solar part, but it's becoming more and more where we have to. A lot of the cities are now, because they can do Google Earth views, and they usually do that when we pull roof permits. They'll see that it has solar, and now they'll say, hey, you need a solar permit too. And it's just, I mean, we can pull the solar permit. We just tell them we're just detaching and reattaching it after the roof. And it's not a big deal.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think somebody else had possibly mentioned this earlier, and you said you were going to get back to it. I think is these new metal roofs I've been seeing that, and it looks like shingles, but it's actually a metal roof. Have you encountered those, and how are you installing on those?
Yeah, we've been installing those for a while. Let me go back, and this is probably the best picture of what they look like up close. We're doing picture frames around them. There's some companies that I've worked with that there's a special hook that these are designed, but haven't found a lot of companies that will actually install it right over them. The problem is if we go back to when you walk on them, this is what ends up happening to them. And a lot of the solar companies don't want to be responsible for that happening to them, where you start to get these dents and tweaks in them and stuff like that. They're very hard to walk on if you don't know what you're doing. So we're seeing, I mean, I've done a ton of them here in California. It's became one of my specialties to do picture frames around these. I'll do comp and tie into them. But there are special hooks that are designed for this type of roof. You just got to find. I'm not sure if Encore is installing directly on these or not yet. I haven't came across that, but I know some companies are starting to. They use and another thing's important with these is the majority of the time they don't have plywood underneath them, so they will require plywood no matter what.
Yeah, thanks.
And then I don't know if you guys want to copy this down or if, but this is an app that I have that I guess I can just run through it. Let me see if it works if I just click on here. Can you guys still see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, you see free instant estimator. Well, if you guys copy that link, or I can share it in a little bit, but it kind of gives a quick run through for if you're sitting with a customer and you need a feet, just, hey, if you need in your roof, this is what it's going to cost. This instant estimator will kind of give you an idea of what a roof cost is. And I'll just use any address here. Anybody have an address for me?
Yeah, you can put in my address.
Go ahead.
12801 North Overlook Drive.
Over what?
Overlook. Rancho Como, yeah, right there.
Okay. So if you do this, we're just going to take us to the house. You hit continue. And then you kind of, it asks you a few questions. Is it steep roof, moderate roof, flat? So if I hit moderate and it asks what kind it has now, let's just say it has asphalt roof. And let's just say you want to go to tile now.
Tile.
It does ask for your information. I'll just click through here, but let's just put a test. And I'll put my email there. And it'll give you guys a ballpark of what it would cost to do that roof. So if you're going back to asphalt, it'll give you an idea, figure it's going to be 25 to 28,000 for an asphalt roof. And again, these are estimates. It just takes the footprint of the roof. This is removing the roof, reinstalling, but it kind of just gives you a basic. I know a lot of times you guys need answers right away, especially when you're sitting with the customer, or if you come across the point where you're with the customer and it tells you, they'll say, hey, I'm not sure if I need any roof, and you can throw them an estimate with these numbers, and they're pretty accurate if you take the range.
That's awesome. Will you share that link to us?
Yeah. I'll put in the chat in a second here. Let me go back here. And you guys can just put your contact information in there, not the customers. And that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Any more questions, anything?
I had a question on a TPO roof.
Yeah.
So I got a quote. It's a pretty small house, low slope roof. It has some slope, but currently it has a tar and gravel roof, and they want to replace it out with TPO. And the homeowner, I got some quotes, and then I got a quote from Freedom, but it came back like really high. I mean, is that a pretty expensive roof to do?
And TPO just depends on
pretty affordable, no?
It depends on all the details. It is an affordable roof. The thing with TPO, if there's a lot of different penetrations, where you got to tuck under flashings and stuff like that. So a lot of the components in TPO can get expensive. And then also you got to think, I'm not sure if the solar install includes this or not, but they do require a lot of they're called chem curbs, which go around each one of the solar standoffs. So I don't know if there's an adder in your solar proposal that has that, and they're also including that in the roof. So that's something to look at. But it is a little more expensive than going back to any rolled comp. It shouldn't be too much different. I mean,
I'm trying to get another quote because they quoted me at $22 a square foot, which I'm like, what? So I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to get a second look. Maybe they'll send it to a different roofer because that seems a little bit crazy, but
Where's that job at?
it's in Northern California in Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh. Okay, yeah.
It's a small house, like 1,000 square foot, and they quoted me like 22,000 for the roof.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
it
It's
does
pretty
seem
high.
kind of steep, but I have other partners that I work with that are up there if you'd like a second opinion.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll reach out. I'll get your number. Well, thanks, Reggie, for the training. Good stuff.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody else?
Hey Reggie, good stuff today. I have a question. It's just a generic question just to compare because sometimes some customers don't want to do the roof with the solar project because it just makes the payment higher, you know, especially if we just already quoted them solar and then later we have to circle back and give them a roof quote. But just so we can get an example of what would a roof cost if they were just to do it separately? Do you guys offer financing? What would be the number one, the interest rates on a roof and average monthly payment, let's just say like on a $17,000-$20,000 roof, like an average roof.
So
The
our
monthly
finance-
payments and the interest
our-
rates.
Yeah, our finance partners, basically what it is, it's almost like a brokerage firm if you were to think about it. Like if you went to in a lending institution when you're buying a house, you can go directly to like Bank of America and get financing, or you can go through a mortgage broker where you get, 15 different options. So our finance partner works like that. What I do is I send a link to my customer. They fill it out and it'll give them 6 or 7 different options. And they range from anywhere from like a 2-year loan to like a 15-year loan. Rates will be based on their credit. I've seen them as low as like 5-6% and as high as 17%. If they can roll it in the root, in with the solar, the nice thing about solar is they stretch that financing out for, 25 years, so that kind of makes it nice. It doesn't change their payment much. But then again, you deal with the fees that come with those loans. Our finance partner, there's no extra cost, no extra fees. If you finance 15,000, you're going to pay a 7% on 15,000. There's no dealer fees, no other kind of fees like that. So that kind of makes it nice. You got to remember, I'm not a tax dude, and I know you guys heard this, but a lot of times they roll those extra costs into the financing, and they can take advantage of tax breaks when it's in the solar loan. So that's something to look at also. But our average roof payment on a regular house can range anywhere from 100 to like 250 a month, depending on how long they finance it and what kind of rates they are.
Nice. I have one more question because I have a client this Wednesday. So the issue there, they have a large beam. I don't know if this is too common, but there's a large beam that covers like half of the house. The thing is that the roof is only 6 years old. And the beam, the lady, according to her, she heard it crack. Now we send a roofer out there, and the roofer said that, I don't know if this is true, but we have to put, in order to replace the large beam, because it's massive beam, they say it's going to be a massive job. In order to avoid doing something like that, because again, the roof's only 6 years old, they said to put some type of special glue on the cracked beam, and then to like some type of coating on top. Is that something that?
That's not anything that we do. I have never dealt with that. We had a similar customer about a year ago that had the same issue. Their roof was about 10 years old, and we pretty much had to rip everything apart and replace it. And it got pretty expensive. I'm not familiar with that procedure at all. I can ask around and reach out to you and let you know, but I have not heard of any glue or anything like that. A lot of times what I do find is I see people put supports or sister beams next to it. I'm not sure how Encore would look at that when they go out and do their site survey.
Yeah, because they told us we should get a second opinion from Freedom, right? The installers.
Yeah.
So the lady, she's ready to go solar. She's only worried about the weight of the solar panels being on top, because where we're gonna install is gonna be on top of that roof where the large beam is at.
Yeah.
But she says that she heard it crack, so she's scared that beam might not be so.
There's a lot of there's a lot of ways to secure it using reinforcements and stuff like that, but I don't know how bad it's cracked or what it looks like. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I can give you a call and maybe we can schedule something because she wants somebody to go take a look at that on Wednesday. I don't know if you're open for Wednesday.
Yeah, give me a ring. I'll make sure that we could set it up.
Okay. Appreciate it, Reggie.
No
And
problem.
good stuff, good training.
What city is that in?
That's in Pico Rivera. From
Okay.
the office is like 12 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always around there.
Okay. Great.
So we have 8 minutes left. I don't know
And
if
keep this in mind, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Reggie is an authorized roofer with Freedom, so we can use him. So make sure, Reggie, to put your contact information in the chat. Okay, that way people can reach out to you. Because as you guys can see, he's awesome. There was a big house in where was that house? Those Brazilians that you helped me, bro. Was it like in not Newport?
It was Manhattan Beach.
Manhattan Beach. It was a huge 2-story house in Manhattan Beach that needed a roof. That house had to be over $1.5–2 million. Okay, Reggie did that roof for me. He's awesome. I vouch for him, right? The people that we vouch for is because we've used before, right? And Reggie certainly is one of them. So anyways, yep, we got a couple minutes, so let's go ahead and wrap it up.
There's one good question is, Reggie, how did you become that? Because if there's a roofer in my area that I would like to be able to have at the ready in the platform, I'd love to be able to figure out how to get him plugged in. Could you put that information in the chat or something?
I'm not sure. I've been working with a lot of solar companies for a long time. Back when I got approved with most companies, they were like urgently searching for roofers to help them with. I know that some are a little more selective now. What area are you in?
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina. I'm not familiar with anyone out there. I know I do have some friends and partners in South Carolina, Texas, some of the other states that I would be able to hook you up with. But no, I'm not familiar with the process of everything. I think you have to reach out to JC on that one.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, one more thing before we wrap this up, because I've got all of you guys here. I just posted a link. This is unrelated, but I just posted a link of the day one launch event. So the name and the theme of our launch event is Day One, Rebuilding an Industry. The link is on the chat. It is August 24th. Make sure that you guys register because this is a pre-sale, $99 a ticket. That price is going to go up to $149. So I highly recommend. This is ladies and gentlemen, this is the official launch of our company. It's at the Hilton by the LAX. Okay, this is right in downtown Los Angeles. It's going to be an amazing event, a historical event. It will sell out. The room is booked. Everything is booked. It's an all-day event. And then on Friday, the Friday before that, we have a business opportunity night. So the 23rd of August is a business opportunity night. So we're a little bit over a month away from this event. I recommend you guys go and get your tickets ASAP. I'm going to be personally looking at the list of people that are registering because I want to know who are the most serious, most committed people. Obviously, I'm pulled in a million different directions, and we want to make sure that we are promoting for that, right? So how many people are you going to get there? It's not about us getting there. It's about how many people from our team are going to get there. Okay. Imagine the kind of value that we get from a training like today with Reggie. That day is going to be announcements, training, launch. We're going to have a party. We're going to have a good time. You want to come in and meet your build family, your aunt.
I think you went on mute, bro.
I'm like, did I just lose them or everybody?
Sorry, guys, I got cut off. So let's promoting and get people registered. So anyways, just want to say that. And with that being said, the link is in the chat. And Reggie, back to you. Let's take one or two more questions, and then we're going to wrap this meeting up. And I'm going to be doing a training on the Freedom Portal on the sales meeting that will be on Zoom as well. So, Reggie, back to you. Thank you.
Well, all righty, guys. Any other questions, let me know. If you guys have any roofs here in Southern California, I'd be happy to go take a look at them and see what I can do to help you and your customers out.
I have a question, Reggie. Your partners in NorCal that you work with, would they be able to run through Freedom, like through your setup, or how would that work?
Yeah, and if they can't, I can always step in and help out, and then they can run it through my company, something like that. I'm
Can you
sure we can
sub
work
them out?
something out.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm gonna call you right after this meeting then, so I can get you that address.
Okay, sounds good. All right, guys, I guess that's it, man. Have a good week. Close some deals. Let's make it happen. Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate it, Reggie. Good stuff.
Thanks, Reggie.
Thank you, Reggie.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You.
Fantastic.
you, Reggie. Thanks for the value. Thank you.
JC, are you there?
Thank you so much.
I'm looking for the link that you were talking about, JC. I don't see it in the chat.
Link.
Is it this chat or is it
It's in the chat. It's just not showing up as a link because I don't think they highlighted it to a link, but it's there.
Where?
looking for the estimator? No, for the announcement about the launch day one.
It says day one, it's in the text. Just scroll back up in your text. It just doesn't show as a link. You're gonna have to copy it.
Okay.
Brenda just reposted it. Sorry about that, guys.
I think.
It's now in a link form. If you guys need it, it should be the most recent post.
Got it. Thanks, Pete.
Hold on. Yeah, man, if we can link up offline, brother, I have a lot of people in EP as well. I used to do the business down the area, so I'd love to talk with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what.
Put my number in the chat.
Yeah, let me give you my phone number, okay? I'll give you my phone number in the chat. All right.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Jessica, quick question.
Okay, we're gonna take a little break and we're gonna leave the Zoom room open. We're gonna start this sales meeting in a couple of minutes. And we're gonna start a new one soon.
Recording stopped.